No, baby, we just keep going through the same thing over and over. Sick of going on this merry-go-round with you. New hopes and new affections. The same old act with the same
good evening, and welcome to another edition of the New Black Leadership live here in the studios of Intellectual Radio. The live studios of Intellectual Radio. My name is Gregory Sane. Stake your claim with Gregory Sane. This is a show, a program. I'm going to say a segment where we don't sugarcoat, we don't water it down, and we definitely call a spade a spade. But we thank the Creator for blessing us with the tenacity, with the courage, and really with the love to bring people some solid, unadulterated truth. And we love providing information that oftentimes is not out there on the mainstream news or different other radio programs and etc. So I know tonight we are expecting a few other guests. I think one is on the way. That is our brother from WVON, Domiti Pongo. But we have here already who is like 10 of all of those people. We got none other than the man from WBGX 1570 radio, the butt naked truth, brother, friend, Mr. Harold Davis, and he don't take any prisoners over there. All you got to do is go read the book of Amos. Yeah. He been wailing away and using scriptures as a context. And we're gonna get to that as we talk. This is the New Black Leadership monthly roundtable media conversation. Right. Our monthly media roundtable conversation. And but I want to thank the Creator. I know you do, and our ancestors, and all of those that have been responsible for us having the mindset and the direction and the guidance. And so we don't want to ever forget any of them that have made it so that we are standing up. They stood up, and now we are standing up and using this format to re-educate, to inform, to stimulate conversation, and to motivate our people and to direct action that they will absolutely make a difference. So I want to thank Brother Harold. I don't know if it's on or not. So, but Brother Harold, how you doing today,
good,
man?
Brother. Thank you, you and Brother Mike Muhammad. I'm a part of the New Black Leadership Coalition family, and proud to say that. And and it's time for some new black leadership. So, in terms of that, brother, I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, and I'm glad we have our young brother who is an up and coming. I don't know if want to say that stuff, but I love his spirit and this brother with an interesting name, Pongo.
Yes, okay.
Domiti Pongo. When I hear that name, it's like Domiti Pongo. And I mean, you in a really interesting. He's on his way inside the studio, but I'm glad you're on now, brother. And we are very, very pleased and happy and honored to have you part of this New Black Leadership monthly media roundtable, which is what we got to do more of as we move along. So how you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing very well, and I'll be doing more listening than talking, because when you got some wisdom like Harold and Brother Minister Michael and yourself, you do more listening than you do talking. So I'm honored to be on with you guys this evening.
Well, as soon as you get here, brother, we want to deal with some of those stories that you are very familiar with, and some of the discussions, and we're gonna give it our little brand and our perspective and our little hot sauce and mild sauce on it. And so it'd be good to get it from a different perspective, but nevertheless one that we believe will create action. A lot of stuff is going on right now, Brother Harold, and as our brother Domati know, Minister Michael know, Glenn Reedus, right? All of them know that recently what I've noticed is folks have been, do I want to say parading the elected officials around, but I mean they've been giving them a platform.
Okay.
And it's one of those kind of things where and I know you, Brother Domatine, you've been there at the studio that you work for, but it ain't even about a studio.
Yes.
I'm talking about the conversation, and at the root of all of these conversations with whoever say they running for this office or that office and etc. Will we see in our lifetime, let's just say in the next couple of years, the bar change? Will we see the conditions change, Brother Harold, for our people? And then it's like we caught between a rock and a hard place, because we got, you know, folks outside of the Black community, but then we got a battle where we trying to clear the way of those who are playing games, we believe, some with the aspirations of poor people, people that are looking for a way out of this stuff.
You know what, Greg? You actually said something that sparked my attention, because you know you were more kind in saying that giving elected officials a platform, which is true. But the reason why the word parading felt more appropriate is because the parade comes a certain time of year, and you know each year when the parade is coming, whether it's the Bud Billiken, the Macy's, whatever, you know when it's coming. And the same is true for politicians when it's time to engage the Black community. So I think you're absolutely right. There's a time, a specific time, when we see these elected officials come to our cities, and it, even as a voter, but even more so as a reporter, because there are times when you want to engage with an official on an issue, a piece of legislation, etc., but they're not available until it's voting season once again. So you're absolutely right in that, Greg.
Yeah, and being able to, Harold, deliver on all of these promises. I mean, it's like if all of the billionaires right now that's running for governor and the millionaires, whether they Democrats or Republican, if they sat down at the table, say with the new Black leadership, you, Harold, a member of the new Black leadership, we have a vision. We have an absolutely way that we can solve many of the issues out here. And it is not all money, but if we're talking money, what is it that they could do, Harold? And you have a lot of listeners right now that are listening to you. Well, what are you saying?
You know, first I want to say hello to the young man, Domatique Pongo. I get the opportunity to hear him. Very impressed with him. And
thank you.
And the future is bright with brothers, young brothers coming up like him, who I'm seeing humble himself and you know and very humble in his in his moving around and what I've seen of him. I've never met you personally, brother, but I can tell by listening to you that you're very humble in spirit. And and brother Bishop Lance Davis told me, good friend of mine, I think he saw you in Ghana, and so he was also very impressed with you. And so me and Bishop go back a long way. We have some similar things that we're working with, in particularly the Black Food Hub that we do every Saturday, and we Black farmers feeding Black people. And so we've gone from about 30 people to about 250 to 300 people every Saturday, and the spirit of just people getting fresh fruits and vegetables from Black farmers. And so my farm and Fred Carter, Black Oaks, we've combined farms, and obviously we're not out the ground yet, but there are the Black farmers in the South that are out the ground. And so our stuff will be coming out the ground in June. And so just the spirit of black people being able to come together on Saturday, and you see Greg, you there every Saturday. And I'd like to invite Dominique there, if he gets the opportunity to come by Saturday, the 3 at 2423 East 75th Street, where you can see black people feeding black people. And so, one of the things that we take very seriously is that the state of Illinois would run out of food in 3 days if there's no delivery on Monday. And so by Thursday, what's in the grocery stores in Illinois, if there's no delivery Thursday, then it's empty. And so if the state runs out in 3 days, how often will black people run out who, according to the Nielsen report, black people go to the grocery store 186 times a year, which is saying almost every other day, black people are going to the grocery store. And so in terms of us sustaining ourselves, it's virtually impossible. But what we're trying to do is, we also do classes on farming on Sunday. And so what we're trying to do basically is teach our people and we can feed our own people. We've had Alderman Michelle Harris and Leslie Harrison and Greg Mitchell interested in what we're doing. There's an announcement that the USDA is going to make next month in reference to the only black food hub in America, and that's Fred Carter and myself. And so we've been farming a long time, and people just, and I'm sure Dominique understands the farming aspect of where his parents come from. And so in terms of that, if we don't get a hold of feeding ourselves, I mean, even in terms of the average vegetable is sprayed 46 times. I mean, and so we got stuff
sprayed 46
times. But we know for a fact that we're not spraying any. There's some product that we bring in that's not sprayed at all. Now there are some government rules that require you to spray at least twice, just for, viruses and stuff. You don't want people to get sick. But AZT back in the 1980s was the only spray that they used on vegetables in the 80s. And they gave that to AIDS patients. But it was the only one that they sprayed. Now you got 46 different pesticides being sprayed. And then you look at the cancer rates. You look at the illnesses. You look at now Walgreens on the west and south sides are turning their stores over to DaVita kidney dialysis centers. And so they're in Springfield fighting over Fresenius and DaVita are courting black state senators and state reps saying, can I put the next clinic in your district? And so why are we having conversations about who's going to put the next kidney dialysis place in the black community? Just put a brand new one up on 106 in Halstead, former Walgreens. And so these things are taking place as we speak. So in terms of a $200 billion business, and black people refuse to eat right, I just say, I'll just take a pill for my diabetes. I'll just take a pill for my high blood pressure. I'll just take a pill, and eventually end up, in a state that no good to anybody. So in terms of that, Greg, it brings me to this. I listened to the Bruce Rauner interview, and he constantly blamed it on the black Chamber of Commerce, which is Larry Ivory. And so he never answered the question. He just kept smacking them under the bus. And so I had a meeting with Bruce Rauner when he was running for governor. And the first thing I asked Bruce Rauner was, your company, GTCR, last year did $2.5 billion in 23 states and 250 prisons across America. Your company has a $100 million contract in the juvenile detention centers in the state of Illinois. Okay, so I don't have to wait till you become governor to partner with you. I can partner with you right now. And so those are the kinds of things that his company that allowed him to make $156 million last year, even though he's no longer the president, but he's still reaping those kind of profits. And when you have hedge fund managers that concentrate right now, a lot of them are concentrating on schools, on alternative schools, but a lot of the concentration is inside the penitentiaries across America. And so his company, $1 billion, and they even had a $100 million contract in the county juvenile detention centers that required them to even do the aftercare when a child was released. So when Bruce Rauner says things, he talks out mostly the side of his mouth. Because if we knew the questions to ask him, don't tell me that Larry Ivy and those guys are responsible for a $60 billion budget. And out of that $60 billion, Dominique, only $25 million came to the black community in Chicago. And his wife, an ounce of prevention, had a $50 million budget where most of her money came from the state. And then we sitting here out of a $60 billion budget.
And look at the connection. You just said his wife.
His wife.
Then you look at Daley's wife. She's got After School Matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they hooked up. They bold with it.
$50 million is the ounce of prevention gets.
But look how bold they are with the resources. And now, yesterday, your spirit and your and the way you feel right now. And I listened to the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan yesterday. And that whole conversation, Minister Mike, was about growing our own food, taking care of our own self, because at some point, we got to stop looking at white people. The government is not going to bail us out of this situation. It's never going to happen. I don't care how many times you vote. You can vote until you blue black in the face. That will deal with some matters, but we gotta go for self. And we gotta do for self. We gotta eat some beans. Go ahead, Domity.
What I love about that do for self message so much too is that it's multi-pronged, right? Because Harold just really broke down, I guess, the path through which we see centers like the kidney dialysis center or whatever business you want to name come to African American communities. And what do? We respond with a reactionary point of view, where how can we get this in our community, or how many people are you hiring, et cetera, et cetera. Not even thinking about the fact that we wouldn't need these types of buildings in our community had we been growing our own vegetables, had we lobbied before these stores came in our communities that weren't even serving food that was real food, that was chocolate, high fructose corn syrup, et cetera, et cetera. So I like the perspective that you're coming with, because if we can from our community build from the inside out, we won't need these structures, and we won't have to fight for crumbs at the table. I even think about the conversation in Chicago with sanctuary cities and what's going on with the Hispanic community, et cetera. And while I understand both sides of the argument, what frustrates me about our position on this and how Black people approach, the way we look at our Latino brothers and sisters, is that we're fighting for crumbs when there are economic opportunities that, by and large, a third of Chicago takes 80% of the pie when it comes to those opportunities, if not 90%. So we really have to take a close look at what we can do from the inside out before we start to just lobby for a piece of a pie that has already been divided amongst white Chicagoans 20 times over before it even gets there.
Let me ask you a question, Domity. Have you read the article $1 Million Blocks?
No, I haven't.
Okay, Google up $1 Million Blocks. It was written by the Washington Post. And it basically talks about $2.5 billion that was spent over a period of 4 years locking up people in 5 zip codes. And the zip codes.
Oh, right here in Chicago, right?
Right here, West Humboldt Park, Lawndale, Roseland, and Inglewood.
I did see that. Yes,
5 zip codes. Now check this out. So this article talks about 1,162 blocks that they spent over $1 million locking people up. 5% of the black men between 2007 and 2011 were given felony convictions only because they lived in one of those 5 zip codes. Now, when you look at those 5 zip codes and you say, well, why all the shootings and all the murders coming? Those same 5 zip codes. This summer, 26,000 ex-offenders are coming home from the penitentiary, going back to one of those 5 zip codes. 75% of them are going back to their mama's house. And then they just had an article in the paper a couple weeks ago where they arrested 3,000 people, 78% of them black males under the age of 25, for standing, sitting, talking, or eating with a felon. So
just locking them up.
So
friends in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and so this guy said, "Well, I'm standing here talking to a guy I grew up with." So you dump them back in the community. You done locked up 3,000 of them, saying that they're associating with guilt by association is the article. And so you say, well, what are they supposed to do? They grew up with these guys. And they said, the article said the only reason that these black men between 18 and 54 got a felony conviction because they lived in one of 5 zip codes. Then and then they come back with the other article, $786 million for the last 4 years used to lock up nonviolent offenders in the county jail. $786 million. I got a cousin that's a drug addict that he robbed somebody $20. Dominique, he's been there for 2 years at $143 a day. His bill, the bill right now for the taxpayers is $106,000, and every 3 weeks he goes before a judge, stands there 10 seconds, and they say, go back to jail for probable cause because we're still looking for the person that you took $20 from. These are the kind of things that they're doing to us, and we don't seem to understand that 786 million, 2.5 billion. I mean. And on one block on Cicero and Adams, if you read the article, they spent 2.5 million locking up people on one block. And so when you look at this engineered conflict, Dominique and Greg, this engineered conflict, that they were going to use these kind of tactics. And then what they say, well, we're getting tough on crime, we're getting tough on gun sentencing, we're using stronger police tactics, and murder and crime is through the sky, it's through the ceiling. So it does not stop anything because these little brothers don't have an opportunity, and you give them a felon, and now you got 26,000 coming home for the summer. Where they going? Right, they're coming right back to one of 5 zip codes that they left.
And I fear that with the shooting of those officers in Humboldt Park, the shooting of those police officers, they were undercover tactical officers, by the way, who were shot with assault rifles. There's now a press release, a story that gang members have Teflon piercing bullets. So we're only going to see policing get that much more aggressive in the next few months, I'm assuming, man.
Wow. And that's why there is such a need for new black leadership. And when I say black leadership, I am talking about unapologetically exposing the people to information to have us prepare so that we will survive. And that's why when you think about new black leadership, you think about the information that comes from the butt-naked truth. It's information that people want to sugarcoat. I mean, and it ain't even about being negative. It ain't about being divisive. It's really about saying, look, our people are being hoodwinked. They're being bamboozled. Nobody is talking to them about if, in fact, as Brother Harold said, and you, Brother Dominique, if there was no way black folks to get to the grocery store. Brother Harold just gave a mathematical equation to say that we gonna starve to death.
No, it would be total chaos because people would break in your house and shoot you for your food.
Wow. And so now so when we look at this on many platforms, and I'm not gonna even waste time with what somebody gonna deliver to us who's running for governor. That we would be stupid to put our currency in that. But information flowing to the community is not happening. Well, there's a brother, Dr. Wesley, right now.
Right.
He's on. Are you familiar with Dr. Wesley?
No, I'm not.
So
no, I'm not.
Dr. Wesley is a brother that is revolutionarily putting together a man. I'm telling you, the assault that's on young black males and the effeminization of the black man, and a lot of it coming from many sources, but primarily from marijuana, aspirin. This brother have broke it down chemically in terms of what's happening to black males and females, and this whole big wave of us not wanting to be men and women, having a family, that structure that got us this far. But nobody is talking about this. We're distracted. I'm reading a Facebook post today, and they talking about what if Jesse White ran? What if Meeks ran? What if so and so? I mean, like, hey, folks, you is like you burying your own self. We digging our own damn grave because we don't want to be let down. We calling people leaders.
Mm-hmm.
They throwing people in front of us that they know gonna keep us wishing upon a star.
I mean, at the end of the day, you look at the Midwest, Indiana, their governor there, but they a billionaire supporting him. You got a billionaire governor supported the boy in Wisconsin. You got a billionaire here in Illinois. There's a billionaire in Michigan, the DeVos family, and he's a member of the. So the billionaires, Greg, are basically looking at budgets. Okay, if Illinois has a $60 billion budget, and we make up 12% of the state, then we should at least get $8 billion of those contracts. How do we end up with 25 million? And so we're not
getting. That's all?
Yeah, 25 million that went to social service agencies in Chicago. Now, if we got, if they're going to distribute it right, $60 billion of the population, then somebody owes us almost $8 billion. And so we don't have to be sitting up here trying to figure out, I mean, what we going to do. I mean, when they hold the NBA draft, the worst team going to get the best pick. When they hold the NFL draft, the worst team going to get the best pick. And eventually the worst team will compete with the best team. And so taxes were supposed to go to the worst communities. In our community, the taxes don't come to us, nor do the money come to us. And so in terms of, they say, well, Inglewood, look at the schools in Inglewood. Okay, so they say based on property taxes, okay, a person in Inglewood is paying $800 a year for taxes. But the person up on the north side, $2,000. So obviously Northside Prep is going to have everything they need, but the schools in Inglewood are not going to have nothing because the unfair of the property taxes that they derive this public school funding from, which is the last in Illinois state, in the state of Illinois, public school funding is number 50, is the last thing on the list. But until they can figure out that our children, based on property taxes, our children can never compete with somebody that's paying $22,000 versus somebody paying $800. And so a city, a little town like Inglewood, which is 3.2 square miles, and those same bricks that sit were up on the north side, up there in Albany Park, that same house in Inglewood that's selling for $10,000, somehow Begovia's house is worth $990,000. Same brick, same mortar, same rooms, but one is worth 10, one is worth 990,000. There's something wrong.
Where do the people in Winnetka and Highland Park and Barrington, where do they work at,
brother?
What degree do they have? I mean, come on, somebody got to talk to me. And so how do we ever even this playing field? They ain't no redistributing of the wealth. So that's why I said we wishing upon a star until we tap into our own resources and wealth and etc. We will be arguing with a government and a system that's going to continue to what? Perpetuate and control. And as you break them down, Harold, statistically with that kind of data, I mean, we all on Facebook and everywhere should be disturbed that we're not hearing this from mainstream. How could you be, and how could we be so damn stupid to be all day watching and listening to the housewives of Sodom and Gomorrah? And how could we be watching all of the foolishness, listening to buffoons in the morning? And I'm telling you, they're buffoons. I don't care if it's Steve Harvey or if it's Tom Joyner. And this kind of information is not coming from those microphones.
Under Governor Rana, so far, 1,000 black daycare services have shut down. 70,000 black daycare slots have been lost. These 1,000 people that lost their daycare businesses, they were home, Dominique, and the average one was billing the state about $8,000 a month. So you got 1,000 daycares in the black community, according to what I've read, that are no longer in business based on the fact that they couldn't get their bills paid. So because of this budget. So now they gone. So in terms of that too, if you build an estate 8,000, more than likely that family business that those people were running is paying their house note, paying for their food. It's just a little small business that they're able to eat off of. But
you brought up a good point just a moment ago too, though, about the school funding formula, because it's at large, it's hard to support any single candidate. Are there issues that black people can get behind, that the new black leadership can get behind and lobby for those specific issues? And if so, what should that strategy be? For instance, the school funding formula. We taking a second look at the way we fund public schools in Chicago and elsewhere in the state.
Oh, they have to, because in terms of in Winnetka and Wilmette, they don't have textbooks. They have smart boards and computers. All the books are on the computer. But in terms of us in the city of Chicago, we may be still waiting on textbooks.
So what do the black folks in Springfield, what do they say to Mr. Madigan, the state legislators, all of these lobbyists? They know that there is a real issue when it comes to who gets what. And that's why I feel the way I do. And I am very pissed and angry because I don't see a way out of this for black folks unless suddenly do what we need to do for our damn self. And because this is not going to change. I mean, it's going to just continue to increase. And the leadership or the managers that we have had in front of us, they've been playing games.
I got one better than that. There are 85 cranes in the West Loop, South Loop, and Loop area right now. 85. McHugh just put 2 more up on 22nd in Michigan and 1 down on Roosevelt, Michigan. 85 cranes. And each one of those cranes, they say, is producing 1,000 jobs. And I know a brother that works for ComEd, and he's doing those smart meters. He said he's been in at least 60 of them and ain't seen one black person working. And so when you say, well, why is this wave right now? There's $5 billion being spent on construction down in the Loop area, and that's going to over in Wrigleyville. There's a $500 million right now being spent in Wrigleyville. I know a white carpenter told me he's making $20,000 a month because he's working 7 days a week, overtime. And they have already said, the trade unions already said they only have 62% of the trades that they need. So rather than them bring us in, they're giving their overtime and triple overtime to the white guys who are working.
Wow.
Short, 500,000 tradesmen short. Mike said the national projection. But they're saying is that we're gonna ride it out, and so we're gonna know that sooner or later this wave gonna ride out. So we have enough money saved that we ain't got to worry about what's gonna happen down the road.
500,000. That's the
less. That's what they need now.
Nationally, but look at how many young black males locally and nationally incarcerated who should be getting this training. It should be in schools where you know they will be more attracted to this than some of them saying they college bound or so-called college material. So my question to everybody is this a conspiracy?
Well, when you look at the trade issue, there's $1 billion they're getting ready to spend on the Sears Tower.
Is this a conspiracy?
Right, there's another $400 million they're getting ready to spend in Woodlawn. They've already spent $400 million in the last 4 years, and Byron Brazier said there's no regentrification taking place there. I just saw.
What did he say that for?
I just saw a house sale, Dominique, on 6449 South Drexel for $420,000, 1,700 square feet next to a vacant lot. So, and if you go down Drexel from Marquette to 63rd, they done tore the whole street up, putting brand new pipes in. Why? Because that brand new house that's sitting there is going to be the wave of what's getting ready to take place over there in Woodlawn. And so you just spent $400 million. You got a brand new Jewels coming there, and you got another $400 million. And then Brazier said there's no regentrification yet taking place.
Well, he in the suburbs. I think
I don't know where he's at.
Wow, that is, you asked, is it a conspiracy? When I think about conspiracy, I think about a secret plan, and I don't know if it's so secret.
That's right. Hey, Doma T, that is absolutely a great response.
But after we find out it's a conspiracy, it's too late.
It's too late.
I mean, we've already
It was conspired.
Right.
That's what it means. It was already conspired, and now we got people that are deflecting and distracting us from this information. So I guess they say we so sleep, mentally dead and spiritually dead, that if that person don't come around to shake us to say, do you really see what's going on? Are you really listening? When I listened to yesterday, when I listened to the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, I'm listening to all these young people, over 7 million people listening and watching him speak about what's really happening. But where are the other so-called leaders, spiritual leaders? What they doing? What they saying? And that's why I say what I say when it comes to new black leadership. There is a void that we have.
We're the true shepherd.
But I do want to find out how we can mobilize those 70 million to I'll give you an example. Even there was one brother, I think his name is Trev Pugh, who owns Sip and Savor in Chicago.
He was just here.
Yeah. And another business owner, Eric, who owns Silver Room. It's either one of them. I don't want to misquote myself now, but one of those businessmen, I can't remember which one, but the overarching point is this. They went to the Million Man March, in the 90s. And then when they came back, they were so inspired that they started these businesses. And I met a couple other guys who said, yeah, man, I started my business a few years after I came back from the march trying to figure out what to do. So then when I look at people, when I look at, speakers online, and when I look at the book sales of Mark Lamont Hill, who's on WVON today, et cetera, I wonder what all of us are doing with the information that can put it to action on the ground. There's so many intelligent, smart people that I see that come to the sets, that listen to our shows, and I wonder if they're just taking information as entertainment and writing books with it and reading books about it, while they're really using it to make an impact where they are and where they can.
Well, when I heard about the food hub at 2423 75th Street, I didn't go over the whole check. I didn't go to whole check. I went right over there and got my produce. So when you do hear information, do you really love yourself and your people? You're right. After the Million Man March, it was not the mosque or it was not the nation's responsibility. If a person care and say that they are about change and they are about doing what's necessary, making their word bond, then we take what we got from that and we run with it, and we fix our personal life, we fix our family life, we go in our community and we take charge. What we have is a bunch of cowards that really leaving it up to somebody else to fix what, damn it, we know we should be fixing ourselves. That's why the Million Man March was not a moment, it's a movement. And I think we waiting on a mystery God, because you're right, Doma T, that information is there, but we're waiting. The minister, I ran into the minister, not ran into him, I was there with him at the Salam about 3 weeks ago. And the minister told me straight up, like he told Minister Mike and told Brother Aaron, and would tell you, do what you do. Keep doing it and making a difference out here. We can't wait on this whole piece. Yeah, we should be unified. Yeah, we need to be working together. But guess what? Guess what? A bunch of people will be waiting forever, because that ain't the way it's going to go down. Harold just mentioned the shepherd. You did a whole series on the shepherd. And I loved it when you talked about, you used the scriptures to talk about leadership.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the shepherd, there's an education shepherd, there's a political shepherd, There's a religious shepherd. There's shepherds that in every aspect of life, the shepherds are there. But what the Bible specifically says is that the shepherd live where the sheep are, and that the shepherd would lay down, Mike. And when he laid down, the rod and the staff was just not for protection, but he used that rod to go through to make sure that the sheep didn't have any illness.
Can I ask you something to say that again? If the shepherd supposed to live where the sheep live, most of these shepherds, well, they not shepherds, they live in the suburbs, and the sheep live on the block. But then a lot of the sheep live out there. They just come inside the city.
Well, the shepherd was normally the youngest male in the family, so you can't have a shepherd that's running around here, been in the same church for 40 years. The church ain't ever grew. And the people have been sitting there stagnant for 40 years. The shepherd is the youngest male in the family. And so why? Because the shepherd, he's got to run after the sheep. They're always running off somewhere. He's got to make sure that they're okay. I mean, sheep are literally blind. They can't see. And so the shepherd has to direct them. Then you got the shepherd dog that stays close to him. So in terms of the shepherd's number one job was to always find some place for the sheep to eat.
Say that again.
Some place for the sheep to eat. Number one job. His number two job was to make sure that they were safe.
Now, please tell me, why do we have a poverty issue and we have all these churches that's supposed to be shepherds? How do you justify poverty and people? Churches and etc., whether it's the church, the mosque, the synagogue, the cathedral, that you got poverty.
No, the Bible says that those that pretend to be shepherds are hirelings. And so a hireling in the Bible is somebody that gets paid, but he's not going to ever put his life on the line for the sheep. So they considered them just hirelings. They were hoping that they would just get the sheep from point A to point B. But a true shepherd, his job was to put his life on the line, protect them. But the first thing he had to do was make sure they had something to eat. And the second thing he had to do was make sure they were safe at night. The two jobs that the shepherd had to make sure.
So when you look at the condition of our community, now I've said this to many of our people. We went to sleep for 8 years. 8 years, we've been asleep, period. We were asleep before Barack became president, so I can't put that on Barack, but we got lured to a deeper sleep with Barack.
With a song and a dance.
With a song and a dance. So now, Trump in. And I love it. Somebody had the audacity to tell me, he said, Minister Farrakhan support Trump. I said, you stupid. Don't support him at all, but I do like the song that he was quoting by Salt and Pepper, say, push it real good. Meaning, why you depending on government when you got power yourself, and you got these clowns who are really distracting us from what we should be doing, and so they using the blame game versus saying, what can we do to change our own condition?
My grandmother and grandfather was a part of the generation that 16% of them had their own business. My mother's generation, 12% had their own business. My generation, 8%. The generation today, less than 3%. And so you go from 16% to less than 3% of a generation now just say, just give me a job. And what they don't understand, brother, industry don't produce jobs. Jobs produce industry. And so until you control an industry, that's why the Koreans are able to sell $50 billion worth of hair.
50 billion?
They control the industry. I mean, $50 billion industry. They control it. And the sisters are doing what? They buying the hair. And so what the sisters are saying to God is that the European standard of beauty is what we should be doing, and God made a mistake. And so why would you have to spend $50 billion when this, for me, for the life of me, Domatique, I got brothers working for me that got dreadlocks that stretch down to their behinds. It's working for me that got weave stretched down to their behind. There's something wrong when the men are growing hair and the women are buying it. I don't understand.
Wow.
I don't understand.
Wow.
I don't understand why the women are buying and the brothers are growing. And it take money. I go in the barbershop, man. There's a guy that do braids, and man, he charging $200 every time they come in there. And so these brothers,
you know what I love even about that critique though is that at the end of the day, what you said was to me, who XYZ. So despite what we think about, the lifestyle, et cetera,
right?
We are Black leaders who are.
And you're right, and the focus is on
we still offer them opportunities and the platform and ability to grow.
We work with them in terms of trying to transform how they think, and Mike could tell you it takes a minute, but eventually we will transform how they think. Eventually, you will see more and more sisters come in with their natural hair. You will see more and more brothers cut their dreads off. I mean, but it takes time to transform them. I mean, you really have to work with them, and you have to, talk to them constantly and put somebody in front of them that understands. Because at the end of the day, my son's stock portfolio is probably bigger and better than 99% of the people in this community, and he's been buying stocks since he was about 11 or 12 years old, and now he's investing in. This is what he says. Right now, Dad, I'm buying marijuana penny stocks. And that's what he's doing. And so his stock portfolio is, he's 18 years old, Greg, and he's his first year college student.
That's good.
But he said, by the time I leave here, I'll probably be a millionaire because I'm seeing things that this marijuana thing, is something that is going to be like the internet was. Those how many billionaires are going to be made. And while we sitting around saying in the 8th Ward, well, don't put that over here because we don't want the clinic, we don't want the municipal marijuana over here. Michelle Harris was trying to say, this is not what y'all think this is. This is an opportunity for some Black people to invest. But they did what? They ran it out, and guess what? They took it to the 27th Ward, and it's open on Lake Street over there. So the white people, they get it. They say, hey, we get an opportunity. And then they changed the laws. It was a mandate that the judges and the police couldn't invest. They just changed the law now, say the judges and police and prosecutors don't have to reveal what their former jobs were in terms of locking people up for marijuana. You no longer have to disclose that you were a former judge.
Wow.
So what does that say?
And when you look at every angle, bro, that we should be entrepreneurs. Brother. And that's why the information, we should be angry at ourselves first. And that's why this platform, the New Black Leadership, is a bit different from just people. We definitely believe in solutions. We believe in problem solving. We believe in doing for self. We believe in motivate, inspiring. We work, all of our members are doing things on the ground every day to impact what's going on in the negative world of our people. And so we ain't trying to spend time while we are worried about people. You worrying about Donald Trump? Man, Donald Trump is a lightweight. Man. Yeah, you might say, well, he's dangerous. No, what's really dangerous is you don't have the knowledge of yourself, and we don't see the power in us. That's the danger.
And you know what, Greg? It's not going to be a lot of us grab hold to the New Black Leadership
because they caught up.
Mike is doing a tremendous job, but like and I know, Greg. It's like pulling teeth trying to get Black people to do something. Man, I give all the credit to Michael Muhammad, to Minister Mike, because he has the patience to do that. Yeah, but in terms of what I'm seeing, is that you're not going to get a lot of people to do it. Are going to be the ones that's serious about it. Like we growing food, we selling food on Saturday. We don't give a damn about Dominic's and Jules. We telling Black people, come here. Our product is better than Dominic's and Whole Foods together. And so every day, every week is growing. But at some point in time, Black people are going to have to come to the realization that they're going to have to do for self or else.
Yeah. And that's why folks who are listening to this via iHeartRadio, streaming live, or Facebook Live, and etc. And you will see it even again replayed over YouTube. We gotta come to grips, check up from the neck up. That ain't no way out of this.
No.
We just gonna be overstressed, mad at the world, when in fact the real power and solution is within. We got it.
We got it, bro.
But we gotta break away from the plantation.
We got it.
What would you say, Domity? No, go ahead, and we're gonna go ahead and let you give some closing over the air. Give us some closing remarks. I know you probably stationary where you are. We got about 1.5 minutes.
Really quickly, the reason I dropped off, you won't believe this, a roadside safety check. Now I'm on the phone using my Bluetooth headset. So, as soon as I saw them, I had the phone face down and I put it on mute. Then I eventually hung up. Of course, my car was randomly, quote unquote, randomly selected to participate in this roadside safety check. So even as we're talking about these issues, I get pulled over. Of course, my license, registration, all of that is checked out. I recorded some of it on my phone when I jumped off of it. But it just goes back to show that it doesn't matter who you are, what you are.
Hey, Domity. They was like, what you listening to right now? What station you on? You must be on Intellectual
Radio, right, on the great same.
You on there with the butt naked truth and with the new black leadership. Pull over. Boy.
That conspiracy is not so secret, but I know we only got like 20 seconds, so let me get this one piece in so you guys can get in as well. The Minister Farrakhan will be on with Cliff Kelly tomorrow around the 4 p.m. hour on WVON 1690. So it's a continuation of what we're doing now.
Minister Farrakhan will be on WVON tomorrow with Cliff Kelly at 4 p.m. That's tomorrow. I repeat it, and the people that's listening via Facebook and iHeartRadio know that Brother Farrakhan would be on 4 o'clock WVON with Brother Cliff Kelly. And tell Cliff Kelly we very good friends. Everybody is not great and everybody is not fantastic. Domity, go ahead, Brother Harold.
That's it, brother. I reached out to the minister today, and hopefully he'll be coming on the Butt Naked Truth in the next couple of weeks also.
And we're going to have him here soon. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Y'all can stay tuned right here on Facebook Live. But thank you, Brother Earl Winfrey, one of the best producers on the planet here. Enjoyed this conversation. Went by pretty fast.
Went by. Yes,
but
sir.
Thank you.
Look forward to meeting you real soon, Domity.
Thank you.
I look forward to meeting you real soon, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Domity.
All right.
And that's why, man, and folks on Facebook Live, just a couple of minutes, then we're going to get out of here. I think you got another show coming in. We got to roll out of here. But tomorrow, 2
is your blatant resistance to make this thing great, and I can't wait.